Welcome to week one of British literature. You're probably asking yourself, why is my professor a tree? Great question. The answer is that we're talking about the romantics for week one of Brit Lit. What do the romantics have to do with trees? Great question, Estudiante. Let's talk about that. Okay, so here is a little introduction for week one. I'll go through it and just talk about a couple of key things. So for Unit 1, we'll be exploring selected poetry from the Romantic era, and that's nice. So we're not going into a ton of short stories or articles. This is just kind of the ease into it week, so to speak. So before you dive into the text, it's important to understand what the term romantic here actually means. So this is not the typical romantic that you're thinking of where you're trying to woo a particular person with kind of like cliche poetry and candy and Valentine's Day, things like that. It's a very different sense of romance here. So the Romantics, they're this group of artists writing and publishing in the late 18th century and early 19th century. And their primary focus is all about the emotions and the natural world. So, and there's many poets that almost view nature as something that is divine or godly. It even assumes the role of God in a lot of the poetry. Now, it's important to understand where the Romantics are coming from. So prior to Romanticism, you had this era called the Enlightenment. And the Enlightenment put a very heavy emphasis and focus on reason and scientific data. And essentially, if we look at all of history as a response to what comes before it, we can see that it's a big pendulum swing away from this era of reason and scientific data to where people are realizing it's important for us to understand our emotions, and a lot of meaning and purpose can come from those types of things. So as you're reading this literature and exploring the different resources surrounding Romanticism, keep in mind that the Romantics are responding to that sense of data, science, almost in a sense that it was like anti-religion in a lot of ways. Okay, and that's what I talked about right here at the end of the Enlightenment, when people are consumed by logic and rules. And this is something that I think really embodies the Romantics. They almost have this punk rock spirit. They're rebelling against the Enlightenment. They experimented with the conventional ideas of religion, politics, and art, setting a standard for future generations to rebel against any authorities who assume the role of telling people what they should do or who they should be. So if you feel like you're the kind of person that likes to stick it to the man, the Romantics might be right up your alley. And I just want to emphasize once again that if you're already discouraged about reading the Romantics because you think it's going to be this floral language about, I love you so much, you're everything to me, my soul yearns for you. It's not that. It's not that at all. It's, in a sense, getting in touch with oneself and connecting to the natural world. Okay? So to start this whole shebang off, after you've read the introduction and watched this video, what I want you to do is I want you to click on Lessons. Okay? Right up here on the left side. You're going to click on Lessons. And obviously, where you're going to go from here is you're going to click on Week 1, the Romantics. And just as a little side comment, if you have not already completed the Introductions discussion board, it's ungraded, so don't stress out if you haven't done it yet. I would encourage you to do that this week. It won't take much of your time at all. I'm not like looking over grammar or anything like that. Just complete it just so I can get to know you better, hopefully get to see what you look like. Okay, so Week 1, the Romantics, June 2nd through the 7th. I'm going to click on that. And once again, there's that intro that we just read. I want you to watch this video. It'll give you a little bit of background about Romanticism. It's not very long. And then you're going to be reading The Fly and the Tiger by William Blake, Daffodils, which is also called I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud by William Wordsworth, She Walks in Beauty by Lord Byron, Ozymandias by Percy Shelley, and then you're actually going to watch the movie Pride and Prejudice. And this is a pretty recent film, and I've got it all right here. Make sure you click on it and maximize the screen so you don't have to watch it in like, you know, a tiny rectangle. But those are all the primary texts that you're going to be dealing with this week. Okay? And also the resources. There's a little link right here. The Romantics I'll make sure I fix that link. But it's just another resource for you to explore. Actually, I think you'll be able to access that once you log into WebAdvisor. Okay. The novel option is Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. I'll talk about the novel options here in just a second. So don't worry about that so much right now. Okay, now here is the assignment. So once you have consumed all of these resources, you've read this link, you've watched the movie, you've watched the background, you've read the poetry, here's what I want you to do. Discussion number 1. For this assignment, you will read, watch all the text, and synthesize a 300-word minimum composition. And that's not that much, y'all. That's not much at all. That identifies key ideas from the Romantic era, analyzes their values and philosophies, articulates your own opinion of the text, and responds to the ideas of classmates. All right, so here are the directions. After watching and exploring all the texts and resources for the unit, explain how the film Pride and Prejudice demonstrates the key ideas from the Romantic era. And you're going to get a pretty good idea of what that means. The idea of like emotions and connecting to oneself, the natural world, a rebellion against conventions, things like that. Those are all articulated in the film. Make sure to do this by describing specific scenes or quoting specific lines from the script. So I'd encourage you as you're watching a film, maybe just jot down a few notes here and there that might help you out. It may help to use this link to explore and learn more about the characters of Romanticism. And that link right there, I realized I didn't make it a clickable link, so I attach it down here. So if you're struggling, make sure to click on that, and it'll take you outside of Blackboard for you to use. It'll just give you an analysis of different things about Romanticism that are really easy to help you learn. Okay, so once you've done all those things, explain how one or more of the assigned texts, so particularly these poems, how one or more of those also explores these key ideas. Make sure to quote the text you are using. So if you're going to focus on a rebellion against particular conventions, or a focus on the natural world, or getting in touch with one's emotions, you need to show me how that is connected from the text as well as the film. Okay? Now, once you have identified the key ideas in the film and the text, analyze the values, philosophies, and or religious ideas presented in the text. What type of worldview are the texts arguing for or against? So what is it that these people are responding to? How do the Romantics think that we should view the world? So to conclude your composition, you must respond to the ideas of the Romantic era. What is your opinion of the ideas and values of this particular literary age? Why do you think that? And once again, this is going to be a 300-word composition, which isn't much at all. So you just have to kind of touch on these ideas and move on from them in 300 words. I would highly encourage you to do this in a Word document, copy it, and then paste it into Blackboard. And I can show you how to do that and word that here in just a second. And then lastly, to conclude your composition, you must respond to and once you have completed your submission, you must respond to at least two classmates by clicking on their submission and clicking comment. So read their composition, explain why you agree or disagree with their opinion of the Romantic era literature. Make sure to quote from their composition to specifically address their ideas. Both comments should be at least 100 words each, which once again is nothing. So all in all, you're going to be writing about 500 words, which is like nada enchilada. Okay, a few tips that are going to help you out. If you have difficulty analyzing any of the text, use an online resource like Shmoop or SparkNotes.com. So let's say that you're choosing The Tiger by William Blake. Just type in The Tiger, William Blake, and do something like Shmoop. If I can type, Shmoop. Okay, it'll give you a summary, analysis. It's a really great resource to use if you've never used Shmoop before. Okay, so if you're looking into it or need some help analyzing it, this website will really help you out. Okay, also along these same lines, if you're struggling with Romanticism, you can look up Romanticism and Shmoop as well. That'll help you understand characteristics, text. That's the link that I put in there that should be working for you now. So use all the resources at your disposal here. I don't care what resources you use as long as you're learning. I'm completely happy. Okay, so use those resources. Make sure to read and proofread your submission and comment before submitting. And this is important. Blackboard is infamous for losing typed responses before they are submitted. Compose your work in Microsoft Word or Google Docs and copy and paste it into Blackboard's text box. So your primary objective here is to demonstrate you understand the Romantic era of English literature and that you have an understanding of how the texts are products of that era. So show me how the film and how one or more of these poems are reflecting the values, ideas of Romanticism from the reading and the video as well. Okay? Do your best to do this, and don't worry so much about formatting. I don't really care about that so much for these discussion board posts. My focus is more on your understanding. So once you start composing in a Word document and you have everything ready to go, what you'll do is you'll click on this link right here, discussion number 1, the Romantic era. And you'll click Create Thread. And what you'll do, you'll give your subject some kind of snappy title, right? And you'll paste it into that box. Okay, that's it. You paste it, and then down here you'll click, it's down here, it's behind the picture, you can't really see it. You'll click Submit, it's down there. Okay, now once you have done that, you'll see that the submissions of your peers will start to be populated in here, and you'll click on their ideas and their threads, and that will enable you to comment on theirs. Okay, and that's it. That's all you have to do. And we're pretty much, this is the rhythm of class. This is how it's going to work every week, that you're going to be taking in, you'll be watching a film, you'll be reading resources and connecting it to the historical and cultural ideas. All right? That's how this class is going to work. It's going to be easy peasy, super, I wanted to say lemon squeezy. What's wrong with me? I'm a weird human. Okay, all right? So make sure that you get all of your assignments done for week 1 and you submit by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday night. If you have any questions, hop on Google Hangouts, and I will see you all on Thursday for our midweek checkup.